So for those who don't know, Brook versus Chaves is no longer going to be on pay-per-view October the 24th, 2015. You do have Chris Eubank Jr. on the undercard fighting Tony Jeter, if I believe his name is. I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live, and I cover every single major fight live. The reason why it's not on pay-per-view is because Sky Sports, or Sky, had one pay-per-view slot left for the rest of 2015. Now, it was announced before Klitschko versus Fury was signed that Kell Brook's next fight, before it was decided it was going to be Chaves, was going to be on Sky Box Office or pay-per-view. So, long story short, I think they did the right thing because Klitschko versus Fury is a much more profitable fight and will do a lot better on pay-per-view than Kell Brook versus Diego Chaves. Kell Brook is still going to be making the same money. Diego Chaves is probably still going to be making peanuts, and it's going to be more fan exposure for Kell Brook because he'll be fighting on cable and or satellite, whatever you guys using over there, whatever Sky is, instead of pay-per-view and having people spend their money to watch him at home on television. I have Kell Brook winning. I think this is going to be probably the toughest fight of his career outside of Shawn Porter, because Diego Chaves is not a very, put it this way, he's not a very exciting fighter that you would want to see, but he's good in his own savvy, technical, always find a way to win or make you look bad kind of way. So even if he doesn't beat you convincingly, or even if you don't win convincingly, he makes you have a very ugly night. Look what he did to Timothy Bradley. Even at the beginning of the Keith Thurman fight, he was having some issues. Keith Thurman was having some issues trying to figure Diego Chaves out. And Diego Chaves is a very, very good boxer. He's very savvy on the inside. People call him Dirty Diego because he does have some dirty tactics that come with his game plan. But outside of that, if you look at what Kell Brook can learn by being a guy like Diego Chaves, and if you look at what can be accomplished by doing something that Brandon Rios wasn't able to do, and remember, Brandon Rios was in the running to fight Kell Brook. From my understanding, Kell Brook's demands were way too much, and Brandon Rios' team decided to walk away from the deal. Whatever the case may be with that, Brandon Rios wasn't able to defeat Diego Chaves and was losing on the cards before the disqualification. And remember, there were DDTs and body slams and a whole bunch of intimate hugging during that fight. When you look at that Timothy Bradley, the current WBO champion of the world and former multi-divisional champion, he wasn't able to defeat Diego Chaves cleanly, despite if you think that Timothy Bradley won the fight or not. So if Kell Brook was to be able to do something better than Timothy Bradley and Brandon Rios were able to do, then that'll put him up there on the levels of Keith Thurman as far as if he was able to get the stoppage over Diego Chaves. So put it this way, not to get too deep or to confuse you too much, I really feel that Diego Chaves would be a good measuring stick for Kell Brook to see if he can beat a nice technically savvy, type fighter like Diego Chaves. People are saying, why is he fighting him and why is he not fighting Keith Thurman? We all know the Amir Khan situation. But if you look at it, if he gets this win, so many big fights open up for him. Perhaps a fight with Danny Garcia, perhaps a fight with a Robert Guerrero, perhaps a fight with a Errol Spence. And remember, Errol Spence is on the IBF path. He's slowly working his way up the IBF rankings, if anyone hasn't noticed. We can probably see him against maybe Timothy Bradley, or the winner of Timothy Bradley versus Brandon Rios will be the WBO champion. And then if they were to fight Kell Brook, that can be a massive American and UK pay-per-view fight, because it'll be an ultimate unification fight, especially with Timothy Bradley. More Timothy Bradley than Brandon Rios. Timothy Bradley has a lot of fan appeal in the United States, and he can sell, I would buy, and I think there's a lot of fans that would buy a Timothy Bradley versus a Kell Brook pay-per-view. Now, as far as Kell Brook over in the UK, that would be a massive super fight over there for UK fans if Kell Brook was able to get a Timothy Bradley fight, if Timothy Bradley beats Brandon Rios, and then it'll be for the IBF and WBO titles. So, of course, I can sit here and run my mouth all day, but the point is, The fight is no longer on pay-per-view. You know, it was never on pay-per-view in the United States. So anyway, it's going to be on Showtime, a midday card. They call it Showtime International. I'm going to be covering the fight, of course. We're going to be working on getting some people to the press events during that week. And follow me on Twitter at TstreeT Controversy. Follow me on Facebook at TstreeT Controversy. All my social media links are right down below in the description box. This is TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live.